Good afternoon. This is Matt Sweetwood, president of Unique Photo, here with Mike Sawatsky.
Hello, everybody.
We are here today with a much anticipated, exciting new product. Can I call it new?
Well, new to the USA.
New to the USA product from Canon. It's a really interesting entry into the mirrorless market.
Yeah.
Before we do that, let's take care of a little bit of housekeeping here. You're watching another UeventLive at Unique Photo. We run these events frequently. We bring new products, new ideas, new concepts out, and we like to share them with the entire world. It's really kind of interesting. We can do that right here from the Superstore, broadcast all over the world. If you have any questions about this event, you can tweet them or Instagram them at Unique Photo and use the hashtag UeventLive.
And we also have a chat room too. I'm just going to open that quickly.
Okay, and so you can we'll answer questions after the seminar if you have them, and later on we'll obviously answer questions. I'm Matt Sweetwood. You can find me on social media at msweetwood. That's on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. I'm very big out there, so please feel free to contact me. I'm a lonely guy, so I like to hear from people out there. Let's talk a little bit about what we have here.
Sure.
So to me, this is really what a lot of people have been waiting for.
Yeah.
I want to cut right. We'll get to some of the specifics about the camera, but
Sure.
really the big concept for me, right, because you're the pro and I'm just sort of the good-looking guy here, is that this is a camera that essentially takes every Canon lens made.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Right, and so here we finally have a mirrorless camera from Canon.
In fact, where's our, here we go. They hid that from us.
You lost the lens.
Yeah, there's the adapter. It can take any EF or EFS lens. So for example, right now there's no fisheye for the system, but we have the L series fisheye right here.
It's a mirrorless camera, right? We'll get to the screen in a little bit, tilt back screen,
Yep.
small, compact, right? And it takes the regular Canon lenses. So to me, that's the big story here.
Exactly. That's really what this is about for Canon, is that they are touting their ecosystem as the big deal. That, okay, we're entering a very crowded market, but we have this to back us up with.
Right, and that really is a strong selling point. You're sitting there. I mean, we're sitting here with a 8-15 f4L lens.
Yeah,
on the front of the camera,
zoom, right.
and it actually, to me, it actually feels really pretty good on the camera with the adapter.
Yeah.
Right, so this is an adapter. It's the older EOS M adapter. Right, which has been used previously, and you should be able to adapt any Canon lens. So that's really, to me, that's really the story of what's going on here. That's really the advantage right out of the bat, which they have to any other mirrorless system.
Sure, and the really cool thing too is that one of the problems with other mirrorless systems right now is people say, I really like mirrorless, but there's no good flash solution. Well, Canon has one of the best flash systems with their radios built right into the flash. You can actually take the little transmitter, put it on the hot shoe, and fire all your strobes. So that's the cool thing, is they have the hot shoe, they have other accessories like extension tubes. Everything that works with any of their EOS cameras works on this.
Right, so it sort of gives Canon an immediate sort of jump ahead of everybody really in the mirrorless field, which is, I guess, what everybody else was a little bit afraid of, but good for Canon, and we are here for Canon today. So this camera has an APS-C sensor. So we always like to talk about does size really matter in sensors? Well, here you have a mirrorless camera that has an APS-C sensor, which is obviously bigger. It's a 24 megapixel sensor. So I think that we're going to see, have you had a chance to shoot the camera?
Yes, I have.
How did you find, I know we have Canon people standing here, but we like to be fair about it. How did you find the image quality on it?
It's excellent. It's same kind of level that you would expect from any of the modern Canon sensors. So 7D Mark II, T6i, really rich, good colors straight out of camera, which Canon's known for that. Strong high ISO performance. In fact, I find APS-C to be a nice sweet spot in terms of sensor size.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. It's, one of the things, I'm a street photographer myself, as barely I can call myself a photographer. But I don't like the larger cameras, and I don't like the larger file sizes. I'm not using them. They're going on my Facebook, they're going on my Instagram. I share them. So for me, really having a 42 megapixel sensor, doesn't
Right.
really work for me. I understand professionals and studio shooters and stuff need that.
Well, I know how you shoot too, like the kind of photographs you like to post, and you like to do it right away. The really cool thing is that a few months ago, Canon came out with an updated version of their app for using the Wi-Fi on the camera, and will work perfectly in tandem with this on either iPad, iPhone, or Android.
Right, and I don't know. Have you had a chance to play with the
Yes,
Wi-Fi? Does it work well?
we used it yesterday, and it works extremely well.
Right, because we've heard of Wi-Fi and cameras, and you sit there and you're taking your phone and you're banging the thing trying to get them to connect, and they don't connect.
You can connect with NFC to touch, but it actually does work really well. You can change all the settings now: ISO, aperture, shutter, white balance. You can basically do everything that you could from holding the camera.
Yeah, and then to me that's really important because we were sitting here with this adapter, right, and we're sitting here with a Canon lens, but to me, as a street shooter, and I think really the person who's going to really use this camera, you're sitting here with this new 22 millimeter f2 lens. I mean, this is a 22 millimeter f2 lens. You can see the smallness of the package with the articulating screen. You can do the little thing. Okay. Oh, that's ugly. But in any event, you can see it's a really, really compact package, something you wouldn't expect from Canon. This lens really excites me.
Well, that's the thing too. For an APS camera, it is very compact, and what I'm noticing right off the bat is that even right down to the plastic and the rubber grip, it's very Canon. It's well built, it's strong.
It's funny, that was the first thing that I noticed. We talked about that, you and I talked about that yesterday, is the build quality on this is really good. At first I was like, wow, this camera's heavy, and then I'm like, wow, this camera's heavy. It's really
but in a good way. It's not overly heavy, it's just it feels confident.
And the thing, I don't know if we can see this on the camera, but the camera has a really deep grip on the side, and if you saw when I was holding this lens probably weighs more than, it actually does, I can feel it, it weighs more than this. I was actually able to hold the lens on the camera, and I know we're talking about a lot of these things, but this is important to the shooter of this kind of camera.
Well, that's the thing too, is that a lot of cameras have accessory grips and add-ons and stuff. This is a nice package right out of the box.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that this thing has to me, remember what I said to you when I first saw this camera? I'm like, oh my gosh, they made a camera without a viewfinder.
Yeah.
But guess what?
There's an add-on viewfinder.
There's an add-on viewfinder which really clips right on the top, and this viewfinder is hot.
It is. It's really nice.
It articulates.
It's got a big rubber eye cup, which I like.
The eye activation is really
and one of the things about this whole system is that this is just their first really foray into very crowded, active, developing market right now with mirrorless. So I think in future models we'll definitely see a built-in EVF. We'll see
the built-in EVF is a compromise because I sort of look at this camera and I compare it to some of the other cameras that I use.
Sure.
I've used like the LX100, which has a built-in viewfinder.
Or the Olympus.
The Olympus EM5 and EM10, and they have built-in viewfinders, and those are great cameras. And those cameras are very compact, but they get larger because of the viewfinder. A little bit larger, and it seems clear to me that Canon has made a decision in this to actually keep the camera compact, right? Keep the camera as compact as possible, and obviously not having the viewfinder. And the screen is large on this. I don't know if we can see it in the camera. We in focus, Tim? We good? You can kind of see it? You're good, sorry.
Yeah, and that's one thing Canon's really known for too, is having good, accurate colors on their LCD monitors. So it's just, so far so good.
Yeah,
my opinion of it overall is really, this is exciting because everyone's been wanting Canon to do this for a long time. Everything about it seems really well crafted. Even if you feel this for an 18 to 55 kit lens, that's really
the build quality.
Yeah, the build
really
quality is fantastic.
It's got a metal. It's got that sort of raspy metal. It's not slippery,
Exactly, it's not a hollow plastic.
And it also turns tight. It's not like loose and wobbly too. This is a very, very high quality product, obviously from certainly one of the best manufacturers in the business. Camera's capable of 4.2 frames a second in full resolution, which is pretty fast. I think in the mirrorless field, it's really going to work well in this setup. ISO, what would you say a good effective rate is?
I mean, you can easily shoot this at the same as any of their APS DSLRs, especially when shooting RAW. I mean, the noise, I was shooting at 1600, 3200 yesterday, and it was super clean. So.
you know, and to me, like I said, in such a small compact camera, because one of the things that you're always fighting with when you have the thing you give up when you carry a small camera is that low light capability.
Right.
And if you can push the ISO up, to me, that's really what the camera is about. So if we sort of summarize what Canon has done with this camera, is they've created a mirrorless camera, and they gave it the name M3.
Yeah.
Now, when I first heard that Canon had come out with an M3, I was a little bit excited because I thought maybe I was going to take it on the racetrack
Yeah, I knew you were
and
gonna say
drive it
something
around
about
on the
that.
racetrack.
Right. Sure.
But, you know, okay, if it's not going to be, you know, a fast race car, at least let it be a really fast, compact, ergonomic camera. You know, in
Sure.
some ways, I almost can sort of think of this camera in the same way that you can think of the BMW M3. The concept of the M3 is that it's a very ergonomic, extremely efficient, compact, fast-moving car. And I would say that really about this particular camera. This camera is compact, it is well built, right? It is tight, it is fast, and you know, and it has the brand name on it, which everybody wants to
Sure.
see. So I, you know, in a funny way, I sort of, you know, I'm a car guy, I tend to make that comparison. So I think if I had to summarize this camera, I think we have a compact camera, well built. It takes all the Canon lenses, right? It takes everything that they have, essentially. The EF, the EFS,
Yes.
right, lenses with an adapter. The adapter that's actually sitting on the back of this guy, it's this guy right here. It has a built-in EVF. It's APS-C sensor, and it's 24 megapixels.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good product. Let's sort of get to the most important thing. Pricing is going to be $679.99 when it comes out. And then it has two lens varieties, right? It has an 18 to 55 and a 55 to 200. They just $100 more for the 18 to 55, and they're going to add a few $100 more for the two lens kit.
Two lens kit will be popular, and that's one thing about this camera that I like, is that it is a good camera for someone who's a professional and just wants a small walk-around camera. But it's also, you know, this is kind of going to be their new high-end entry-level camera too, for someone who just wants a two
I couldn't
lens.
agree more.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like here in a camera store, you know, we're not that big on kit lenses. We try to teach people a little more creativity with the camera. And I think that if you walk out with a setup that looks like this, you're sitting with this prime lens, this 22 millimeter prime lens, you know, f2, it's really fast. The EVF, this is a really good walk around.
Sure.
You want to teach somebody photography. You know, it has all the creative modes, you know, the standard stuff you'd see. One thing I really like on this camera, and I'm really a big fan of, is putting that exposure compensation on your thumb, on a dial. It's something that you use all the time, and I think really if you're into photography, it really needs to be on the camera. You know, the touch screen seems to be very accurate.
It's
you know,
very, it works just as well as a smartphone.
Right,
does.
it swivels and rotates out. It's high, you know, it's got a high dot pitch. To me, this is a really, really quality piece. And like I said, to me, this prime lens really is a very exciting thing. So this camera is going to be out in October. Do we have an exact date in October? But it's going to be out sometime in October. I anticipate this really being a very, very heavy seller
For the holiday
for the holiday season. And you know, hopefully we're going to sell a lot here at Unique Photo in the Superstore. So come on down, check out what we have here, check out our whole Canon offering here. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited that Canon finally is trying to, you know, make a big push here. I'm hoping that, you know, we're seeing a lot of good signs here. Just one, you know, when you went to go take the picture of me like that, didn't focus right away. That's one thing I think we're going to see in future models. Is they have the technology. We've seen it in the 70D and in 7D Mark II. So hopefully we're going to see some of that technology in future models, along with, you know, one that's maybe a little bit longer and does have an EVF. I'm just, you know, I know they have the technology to do it, so I'm really excited to see how this system develops.
That's right. And I think
this is a great starting point.
Right, I really do. And the pricing is fair.
Right,
You see, to me, you know, sometimes we've seen other vendors come out with
like
products
$9.99 and it's,
right, or they come out with a camera like this and it's a $1,500 camera.
Exactly.
We've seen other vendors do that with cameras. You know exactly what I'm talking about, and you're sort of sitting there, why are we doing that? But this camera is priced right. I think it's going to steer a lot of the customers considering mirrorless back to Canon. I agree. I think Canon really has a hit with this product. If you want to reach out for us, certainly use the hashtag UeventLive at Unique Photo. I'm at M Sweetwood.
Oh, we got a question?
We have a question. Before I go, what do we got?
Let's refresh.
While it loads.
What about autofocus, which was an issue previously? That's from Photo Monk. Well, that's kind of what I was touching on here. This is an improvement from the first version of this camera that they tried to launch a few years ago, the regular EOS, the first EOS M. That was an issue, and you know, I could say a lot of the same things about that camera about this. It was well built. The menus were very familiar. The LCD screen was great. I was excited about it then, but that was an issue. This focuses better, and the cool thing is that with the adapter, with certain adapters on mirrorless, because adapters are popular on mirrorless, you lose a little bit in focusing. This focuses just as well with an adapter as it does with a native lens. So that's an advantage. And again, I touched on it before. They do have better autofocus technology in some of their other cameras, and I'm going to predict that is coming in the future, but this is a big step.
Right, and I'm playing
forward.
with the camera right here. I mean, this is not certainly any kind of a live test, but I'm sort of sitting here. We're not in the biggest, greatest of light here. I mean, that camera it's touch focusing and shooting like that.
It's very easy to use.
Yeah, very easy to use, and it does feel fast. And obviously having all of those lenses available with the adapter and having equal kind of fast focus with that, to me, is really what it's about. Okay, great.
Right.
Thanks a lot for joining us today.
We got another one?
Whoa, I can't, they're not letting us go.
All right.
All right, good. We like questions.
What f-stop is the kit lens? It's a standard 3.5 to 5.6. The one thing you should mention about both of these lenses too is that they have the Canon STM motor. So when you're silent stepping motor, so when you're recording video, it's going to focus silently. You're not going to, because that's one thing with even mirrorless and DSLR videos, you hear that when it's focusing. These also have the STM lens motor, which you also find in popular lenses like their 18 to 135, 40, 24. So it's something they've done
they thought about it. And we're shooting at 1920 by 1080 at up to 30p. So
we also have pricing on the adapter.
Do we know the pricing on the adapter? Matt, do we know the? We'll check it out for you.
All right, we'll look that up quickly.
We'll look that up quickly for you.
But yeah, I mean, I really like how small they've made this too. This is smaller than the DSLR kit
That's correct. That's correct. And you can see, I really should have taken off the adapter so you can see really the actual relative size of the adapter. Actually, I have the lens cap on it, and you can see it's a pretty small gadget. So that part is. If we can't get it here, you know what we'll do? We'll just get it afterwards. We'll post it on. We'll post it online. We'll check the pricing of the adapter out. Any more questions before I go off? If you can certainly ask questions later, like I said, use the hashtag UeventLive at Unique Photo. You can reach me at Sweetwood, and we hope that you enjoyed this live event and look for more here in the Superstore. Come visit us. We'd love to show you the camera and talk more Canon and everything with you. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Thanks, Mike.
Have a good day.